081 00 8800.
The JVS Show.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lee Stiles is the Secretary of the Lee Valley Growers Association in Hertfordshire. He joins us this morning. Morning to you, Lee.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you so much for coming on the programme. So we heard some clips of you there talking about the jobs that you have available and how difficult it is to get British people to do those jobs. Why do you think that is?
Essentially, unemployment is nearly eradicated at the moment. To give you an example, in the borough of Broxthorpe, where the Lee Valley is situated, there's only 700 people unemployed, which is around 1% of the population. So there just simply aren't the numbers there to accommodate the opportunities that we have.
So if there aren't enough unemployed people to do the jobs, what are you looking for then? I mean, presumably you're looking for what, students and other people who need the work, or?
We don't discriminate at all. We're just looking for people that want to work, wherever they're from, whatever their background is. It's not a new phenomenon. We've had a minority British workforce since the 1960s. We employ around 2,500 people, and we need, on average, about 500 to 600 people a year, but we're just simply not getting the applications since the Brexit vote.
Who does come and work for you generally? Who will we find on your farms or amongst the vines picking bits and bobs?
At the moment, it's generally workers from Romania and Bulgaria.
And where do you get them? Where do they come from?
They either come directly through word of mouth or through job agencies, UK-based job agencies.
But the fact that you've got a gaps here, you've got jobs available, must mean that those people either aren't coming in the same numbers as they were, or they're leaving your employment.
There's a combination of both, actually. Since the Brexit vote, there's been quite a large number of workers not returning. There's also been the issue with the exchange rate, meaning that the workers can earn more in Europe now because they get more for their money as well. And also in some of the Eastern European countries like Poland, etc., they're nearly at full employment as well, so there's no need for workers to travel anymore.
So, I mean, you say that there aren't enough unemployed people necessarily to be so, that they're desperate to come and get the work at your farm. You have got jobs available. I mean, how many people would you say the Lee Valley growers need at the moment to ensure that all the posts are filled?
We need 500 constantly on a monthly basis.
Well, you said there are about 700 people unemployed in that area where you're situated. Why aren't they coming to do the work at your farm? That's 500 people. I mean, that could take care of the large bulk of those people who are looking for work.
Well, I'll give you an example of when we run a sector-based work academy through a job centre. We generally get about 30 applicants. Of those, 20 actually turn up on the day for the course, the 2-week course. Only about 10 finish the course due to dropping out. 5 are usually offered a job, 2 turn up for the job, and most of them leave by lunchtime.
Most leave by lunchtime?
Absolutely, yes. Because we try and tell them, we try and explain the job to them. It's a physical job. It's not, walking around the countryside in the sun. It's a physical job, and if 2 weeks of explaining it to them, it still doesn't prepare them for how hard it is when they actually get there.
And describe these people. I want to get a picture of who these people are. Are they mostly men? Are they women? What age are they? Are they all from kind of the local area or coming from further afield?
They're from the local area. They can be all ages, but generally, if they put themselves forward for a physical job, they will be sort of 20s to 30s. So there doesn't seem to be any particular type.
I suppose what we don't know is, are those people coming to do the training, they realise it's actually, as you say, it's not just standing in the fields getting a tan, it's a lot harder. Are they going away and not taking any work, or are they going away and taking a job perhaps in a bar or indoors in a factory doing factory work? I mean, are these people that you've dealt with, are most of them employable, would you say, or are there some people that you think would probably get struggle to get a job anywhere?
I think in this day and age, in the age of near full employment, you could walk into a job agency and get a job immediately for the type of work that we're looking for. So you decide that you don't like that job and you wish to stay unemployed, then I think if you've got that mentality, then that's what's going to happen.
But are you paying enough that a person who is being supported at the moment and being out of work, are you paying enough for them to actually want to come and do the hard work that it clearly is?
Well, as far as the two types of job that we do, the pack house environment is similar to a warehouse job, so we're competing with the likes of Amazon and the supermarket depots, and we pay a similar wage to those. But glasshouse work, which is more physically demanding, growers are tending to move to a piece rate, which means that you can work as hard as you want, and if you work harder, you can earn up to £25,000 a year.
See, that £25,000 a year. That's more than a decent wage. You know, I know lots of people who their base rate wage is around that or less than that, doing jobs that aren't necessarily physical, doing jobs in offices, earning that. That's maybe you need to shout about that more. Maybe Esther McVeigh is quite right, that people need to be made aware that actually you can get a decent wage doing that kind of work. But is that the basic, or is that, you know, the very top level you could earn by putting in extra hours and things like that and working overtime?
Well, it's not necessarily the hours, because what we tend to find is if you pay an hourly rate, then people will work within the means of that hour. But if you pay a piece rate, then people tend to work faster and harder. And for instance, in the summer, they prefer to, because of the temperatures in the glass house, they can start work at 5 in the morning and finish by 10. So, you know, and they still get the pay the same for doing their full day's work.
You start at 5 in the morning, you can be finished doing all the picking you're required to do that day by 10 o'clock, and if you did that, 5 days a week, you could bring home £25,000 a year.
Absolutely, yeah. I think what the difference between what the government is saying is that they're talking about purely seasonal jobs, which are 6 to 8 weeks throughout the year. We're looking for our season is 11 months a year, and we're even starting to grow cucumbers throughout the winter now. So there won't be a season in glasshouse work soon. It will be a full year-round job. And I suppose the problem with unemployed people doing seasonal work is that they'll probably be put off of it because it's going to mess with their benefits if they're only working for 6 to 8 weeks.
Well, that is a very good question, actually, because that is a huge problem for people who are unemployed. That if they are doing this kind of seasonal work, my understanding is it becomes a bit of a nightmare actually working out the payments that they have from the government, and making sure that they're not in some way in breach of the welfare arrangements that they have. Linda has emailed in to say, I'm not a student and I'm not eligible for unemployment benefits, so the job centre won't help me. Like many others, I'm employed on a 0-hours contract at almost the lowest possible pay. How can I find out more about fruit picking jobs? We'll give out some details, Linda, but if Linda was to come and work for you, Lee, what does she need to do? When she turns up on day one, what do you need from her? And what kind of a character does she have to have? And physically, you know, how able does she need to be to come and do a good job on your farm and earn the kind of money we're talking about?
Well, I would say that attitude and work ethic are the most important qualities that we look for. We don't discriminate as far as disability is concerned. Obviously, the work is physical, so you do need to have a certain level of physical fitness in order to be able to complete the work. But essentially, we have adverts running full-time on our website. By all means, apply, and we can put you in touch with a grower, and you can even have a trial. We don't do 0-hour contracts. It's all fully paid work, PAYE, so there's no issues as far as that's concerned.
So this sounds more attractive. This sounds more attractive to me. You can work the hours you want. You can get the job done in the hours that, depending on how hard you work, giving yourself the rest of the day for free to do what you want, and you've got a contract that lasts for much longer.